Hi guys, welcome to podcast of Rock, and I'm here with
Rumi,
Rumi.
hello.
Hi,
Yes, hi.
and Jun. Hi Jun. Okay, so today we'll be going through topics about love, like some love topics that we can go through about, and I'll be your host. So yeah, let's talk about it. Yeah,
Go for it.
right. So the hot topic about love recently have been seeing on TikTok, like a lot of posts about it is on TikTok, and this question about love is very controversial. So let's hear everybody's thoughts. Okay, so I'm gonna be saying the topic now. So do you guys agree that when guys love a girl too much, the girl will start losing feelings? What are your thoughts?
I think there's like a lot of different things that go into that one sentence, because it's like, what's everyone's different like definition of like love and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So some people might think like really, really loving someone and going out of their way to do everything is like their definition of love, while other people's like, oh yeah, I love them, they're cool, like yeah, I want to be with them, I love them, but like they wouldn't sacrifice that much.
So, would you feel that the girl would start losing feelings if a guy takes the initiative way too often, if you know what I mean?
I think that if you love a girl and you're kind of worried like, oh, will she lose feelings for me if I kind of show it, right?
Hmm?
You really have to not kind of inherently scare her away, right? Because if you go in too much and like she's like not ready for it, or she doesn't know, like you kind of have to figure out where she's at. Because if she's still like, oh yeah, they're kind of just a friend and I kind of like them, and you're like, yo, I love you so much, they're like, what the fuck,
Right,
and it's
yeah.
kind of out of nowhere. But if you kind of,
Misconception.
yeah, but if you get the feeling first and they're like, and you kind of think like, oh yeah, yeah, I think they love me and stuff, then that's one thing.
Hmm. So, Joe, what are your thoughts about it?
Love like or something starts from interest.
Yeah, okay, but how would you how would you say that this love starts from having like feelings? Wait, did you say that? I'm confused.
I said interest. I said
Okay.
so interest builds love or like towards a thing
Mm-hmm.
or a human.
Yeah,
Yeah.
At first, oh, I'm interested on this, and then once you put your time, the more you spend time with it, the more you like or love it.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That goes
that's
for
true.
people and other things. That can go
Yeah.
for a video game for
But it's
sure.
like
Yeah,
you're basically saying that when you love someone for too long, it basically gets more used to it. You get more used to it. Is that what you're trying to say? Or am I wrong?
I think that's a little true. I mean, it depends because love is a very odd thing. Sometimes people, it really dependent on the person. Sometimes someone can only love someone for a while, a little bit, and then other people can love for a while. So I think the initial question of like, will a girl get scared if you love them or something like that? Will you scare them off? It's like, for me, in my own experience, I will never go up to someone that I've known for a while or like that I love and be like, hey, I love you. Because I wouldn't do that until we're dating, or I wouldn't fall in love before I'm dating someone.
Right.
And that allows me to, once you're already dating and you express your love, it's more like realistic and like, oh, it makes sense. But if you like, to me, love is a very big word, and if someone just comes up and is like, hey, I love you, like before dating or whatever, I'm like, what the fuck, like it's very strange,
So you're saying that you have to go through the three like the three stages of love, which is one is friendship, second is dating, and then the third is official.
Yeah, and I think instead of just like, hey, I love you, do you love me back, you kind of talk about it, like you kind of get the feeling before you kind of like see the battlefield, I guess. You go like, hey, like, what's your opinion on love? Like, when would you end up loving someone, and kind of
Mm-hmm.
just suss it out and stuff before just randomly going like, hey, I love you. Because I think when it surprises some girls out of nowhere, that's when they're like, oh, that's really that's really strange. That's really weird. I get scared by it because they weren't expecting it, and it's kind of scary to have someone come up to you that you didn't think loved you and go, "Hey, I love you." You know,
Yeah.
that's like
So you
very
gotta like have some hints of it first, right?
You get flustered.
well, not even flustered. It's just like, whoa, what the hell? Okay.
It can be flustered and weird.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
like there was this one girl in my past where every time I liked her, she didn't like me, and she enjoyed the like chase of liking me rather than
Uh,
actually wanting to be in a relationship.
Oh.
it takes attention.
Yeah, exactly. She never wanted to be in a relationship, but she just liked the fact that I liked her, or that she like I would give her that attention. And then when I stopped liking her, she'd be like, "Oh, where to go?" and start liking me back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that, and I just kind of talked to her about it. I was like, "Yo, you do this shit," and she's like, "Yeah, I guess I do," you
What
know.
the fuck?
But it was just like it's something. I'm a person that just like if I have a question, I go ask it, you know.
So you're more straightforward type. Like you
Yeah,
did.
I don't really play the games and everything. I mean, I do a little bit with like flirting and stuff, but I wouldn't come up. I wouldn't be like if I have a question, I'm like, oh, I don't know, no, no, no. Instead of worrying about it, I just ask.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. So basically, we have our thoughts on love for now, but we're not on the topic of the question that I just asked. So let's go
Right.
back. Let's go back to the question, the topic itself. Okay, where when a guy loves a girl too much, the girl will start losing feelings. So do you think that you can agree on this statement itself, or do you have opinions against it?
I think that if you are loving someone in a healthy way that isn't over the top and is ideal, then I think they would not get scared. But I think if you are loving them at the wrong time or in a way that seems too desperate, then it will scare them away.
How would you define scaring someone away, like during the relationship?
Talking.
Well, yeah, just it being shocking, kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah. It
Because
can be a
when,
stalk,
yeah,
something like that.
exactly, exactly. If it's a guy or a girl or whatever, um, if you get shocked by someone else's emotions, like out of nowhere,
Mhm.
because what happens is like, let's say you're shocked by it, right?
Mhm.
You immediately you're kind of asked the question to yourself like, oh, now do I have to say it back, or do I have to do that as well? You know what I mean? So it's like it kind of like puts them on the spot to answer to some degree,
Mm.
and that's like not a decision you can make just like really quickly. So I think if it's too much, then yeah, it's a shock. And I think if it's like not done correctly, it can be a very big shock. But I think if it's done right, with just like, hey, hey, I really like you,
Yeah.
and you don't have to like answer or anything, but I'm just letting you know I really like you, and I'm here for you if you need anything. That's a very casual way of just saying like, hey, I like you. Don't worry about it. I'm not pressuring you to do anything, but I'm just letting you know that I'm someone that has a lot of interest in you. And from their point of view, it's very like, oh, okay,
S-
that's fine. And it's like, yeah, it might be a shock, but it's chill, you know.
mhm.
But for some, it can be
Mm.
awkward.
That's
True.
true. You have to kind of, I don't know. That's something that I kind of learned how to do after a while. But holy fuck, was it awkward to do at the beginning? Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. Going up to a girl and being like, "Hey, I like you. Don't really worry about it, but yeah, I do really like you a lot, and I'm just kind of showing interest, and I'm here if you need anything." That is not something that is easy to do.
Yes, it is sweet, but at the same time, it's very awkward.
It's not that it's awkward. It's that it's kind of stressful as fuck,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really stressful for you because you're sitting there trying to be all cool, and you might be actually kind of freaking out.
So tr-
But I think just approaching it in a way that's more relaxed and casual
mhm.
than like, hey, I really love you. What do you think? That's like, what the fuck, you know?
So you're saying that? Oh, okay. I kind of understand what Rumi's point is here. So you have to be more casual in a way of saying that you love someone, but not too desperate in a way that it scares someone off. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, if imagine like you're a girl and I come up to you and I'm like, "Hey, I really love you, and I'm just letting you know that, but I'm not asking you to decide on anything now. I'm just letting you know that I'm someone that I would like to be in your life a lot more." Right? That's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay, that's cool."
This
Rather than
just
like, "I really love you," like out of nowhere. It's like, what the fuck?
Love,
it's yeah. You go ahead, Jun.
love is all about timing and effort.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, I
yeah.
agree to that.
Yeah, okay, so let's hear from you guys. If let's say you were in a girl's shoe, okay, let's say we are all girls now, we all became trans or some shit,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Okay, so we have a boyfriend, okay, and then this guy would do anything in the world for us and like consistently buy gifts for us, spoil us and shit like that, and basically like tries to put in effort to love us a lot, but there is some flaws of him loving us too much. He wants your time more. He wants to spend time with you, even though you have like some curfew. Let's say you got a curfew here, and then you have like you gotta spend time with your friends. This is normal, completely normal in a relationship. Do you agree?
Yeah. No,
Yes.
I agree. I actually went through this because I was that person where I would give too much, and then I'd expect a lot back,
Yeah.
and I couldn't always get that. And literally, the thing you just have to learn if you're that type of guy that just wants to spoil and give and give and give and give,
Mhm.
you have to give with just for the sake of I love them and I'm going to give them this, rather than I love them, I'm going to give them this, and what are they going to give back to me? Because the second you
Yes.
start doing that, it's fucked. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
every time you give something, you're like, well, what did you get me for my birthday present? I got you this. And sometimes they just can't give back that much.
Mhm.
So you yourself have to understand that you are giving because you love them and nothing else.
Yes, and you're
And
not
that is something
expecting.
that's fucking hard to do.
Yeah. Yes. I gotta agree.
And at the same time, if you give too much love, you'll lose interest much faster.
Why so? Why do you say that?
Hmm. I
I
don't
think that's
know.
really dependent on person to
Yeah,
person,
that is
though.
Mhm.
dependent on the person. Because one of my friend said that to me. As he loved this girl so much, but in the end, he he lost interest the moment they started dating.
Why? Why so? What
I
happened?
didn't ask. I'm not. I don't much remember.
Well, it can be because he
It's either
he
he.
obviously had a lot of interest to try to get her to date him.
Yeah.
But then when it finally happened, he might have lost interest because it's like, oh, I already have this. Now what?
Yeah.
There's no kind
Or
of future goal with
Mhm.
that in
or he
his
had a
head.
too high expectation.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
probably so.
also
Yeah.
that's also a definite possibility. Yeah, I try to just keep my expectations extremely low, and then anything that is higher than those expectations, which are already low, surprises me or is good. But if something happens that is like low, I'm like, oh yeah, that's chill.
Whoa. Okay. Alright. So back to the topic. So what if a guy treats you and spoils you so much, but expects some stuff in return? Do you say that that is fair in a
I
relationship?
think so. There's a thing, right? It's not for me or him to decide, it's for us to decide. So he should communicate that properly. He should not expect that and not communicate it. The biggest thing there to do is, hey, I want to give you a lot, but I would like the same from you. And then that gives the girl to either say, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that, or to go, yeah, okay, I can do that. But if you just assume that without any communication beforehand and just expect them to, you're gonna get disappointed because
Mm.
you like the girl like has no fucking clue if she what to do, all the time. So it's way better to just be like, hey, I would like a relationship where I give you a lot and you give me a lot, and
Right.
and then that gives them the opportunity to think about it and also agree to it or disagree. And if you get a no, then tough shit. You kind of have to just be like, hey, I got a no,
Right.
because not every girl is like that.
Yeah.
So basically you're saying that you have to talk things out before you start expecting too much. Is that what
Absolutely.
right,
Or
yeah.
understand your partner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course, every relationship you gotta understand your partner before even getting to a relationship. That's the thing.
Yeah, you're right. You have to you just have to talk, honestly. Like just having conversations about this stuff is really important. Like I have these conversations and stuff before I start dating someone so that I know who they really are and like what
Mm-hmm.
to expect. And I use analogies like, of course, if they like me and I like them, I would say like, hey, so if we started dating, what would you do in this scenario? Just like get a feel. They'd kind of go like, oh, well, I'd probably do this, right?
Yeah.
And that's how you kind of get to know someone better without being like, because if you don't ask those questions, you're gonna get surprised, and for maybe in a good way and maybe in a bad way. And those are just maybes and don't knows that you shouldn't have. You should know a lot before you get
Right.
into a committed relationship, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you should really know the person. So it's not a great idea if you think you know the person but end up not, you know?
Yeah. So, John, what are your thoughts on? Yeah, basically, Rumi has been saying a lot of stuff, so I want to hear your point of view.
It's like Rumi take everything. So all I can do is agree on Rumi.
Okay, oh wait, what do you think? Okay, I've got a question for you. What do you think are the main things you should talk about before dating someone? What are the most important things to talk about before you get into a relationship with
Knowing
someone
their
or before you...
expectations in a
Right.
relationship.
And then
Knowing what they can give or not give.
Yeah.
What's their limitation?
right, okay, so talking about where their kind of max is or what they can do.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, basically, their boundaries as well. You gotta know what their boundaries are, so you don't make the
Right.
girl uncomfortable. If you know what I mean.
And what they don't
There we
like
go.
and
I
like.
was waiting
Yeah.
for you to yeah, thank yes, there we go. Yeah. That's really smart. Always obviously respect boundaries. And
Mm.
the only times boundaries get broken, which is
Will
there's two reasons. There's one, if the girl doesn't communicate to you what her boundaries are,
Mm-hmm. That's on
which
her
is
part then.
that's true. It's totally on the girl's part to talk to you about what is okay and what is not okay. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe you can ask her about it beforehand, but there are times where you go like, "Hey, are you okay with this?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And then you do it and then it's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "You literally said you okay," and they're just trying to be
Right.
nice or some
Right.
shit.
Yeah.
That's not your fault. That's just
That's just her.
them being bad at setting boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And also, as the guy, having less expectations would lead to like, if you get a no, you're like, okay, I got it. I got a no. Rather than just like, no, but, and like pushing, 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 pushing. Because you probably had an expectation something was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But then you
yeah,
just,
you need respect to each other.
Yeah.
yes, of course. And the way guys, same to guys and same to girls, like if the other person says no, it's a no, And
Right.
you just don't fucking, don't fuck with it.
Yeah. So, basically, would you consider yourself as you have more boundaries than your, like, okay, let's say you're dating someone now, right? Just imagine you in a relationship. If you're not in a relationship, just imagine yourself in one. Would you
Yeah, I'm
say that you would set a lot of boundaries for your girlfriend? I'd like to hear Rumi's thought of that first. What are your,
for my boundaries for a girlfriend.
yeah, like, do you set a lot of boundaries for her?
I
Would
wouldn't
you,
say I set a lot, but I wouldn't set boundaries, but I would set boundaries as in setting expectations. Like there are certain things that I need in a relationship. And
of
this is a
course.
very good point. Like
Mm-hmm.
every guy should understand what they need in a relationship.
Yeah.
Like some guys really need physical gifts. Some
Right,
guys need a lot
right,
of touch. Some
right,
guys need a lot of communication, and other guys, when they get in a fight, don't ever want to talk about it again,
right,
and some guys do.
yes.
So it's like understanding what you need and then communicating that to the person to see where the middle ground is or if you can get what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not wrong to have needs. So I would say, like, I need a very large amount of physical touch.
But
That's
that one
just
is always depends on the girl as well. As for some
Yeah,
girl
some
doesn't.
some girls don't touch people like they're afraid.
right. But then it's as simple as I wouldn't be with them.
Right. So you gotta know. So basically, you gotta know how they are like before getting in a relationship, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Always understand them or know
Yeah,
Right. So it's
on don't
figuring
date.
out, explaining your needs to them and them explaining their needs to you and seeing if you guys could work.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys can't work, like, yeah, you could force it and try to work on it so you can fulfill their needs and they can fulfill
Yeah, but
yours if they're open to that.
those relationships don't even last long. I can tell you that based on experiences.
That's true. Those relationships are really rough because there's a lot of work you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of effort, but sometimes you can do them if you like really care about them and
Right.
stuff like that. But it's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
So I would do this entire conversation before starting to date them. And if it turns
Yes.
out it's like sorry, it turns out they can't give me what I need, then I will not be with them. Or yeah, it's just that simple. Cuz there are a lot of fish in the sea and why settle for the wrong one?
Right. Okay, so Jun, would you set boundaries? How many boundaries
First,
would you set?
Or what are some needs that you need as a person
Mm-hmm.
when getting into a relationship? Expectations and needs.
I guess I want her to spoil me, but I won't I won't tell her spoil me like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
like at first I won't make a boundaries because everyone is once in a relationship, everyone will bound to make a mistake. Once that mistake happens, I'll set a boundaries
Ah, so you're
with the
more of
mistake.
the you want it to happen first, and then you will talk to the girl about it.
Yeah, like because at first I won't think much about it, and once it happens, I'll talk about it.
Well, but then you could just avoid said conflict by just telling her beforehand.
Can
Right, yeah. Conflicts, some girls are unable able to cope with it and they like go to their friends for comfort, and when they go to their friends, like close inverted comma friends for comfort, they sometimes get the wrong information and it's like a whole complete mess. Like they'll think whether or not to break up or like basically friendship influence by their basically peer pressure or peer influence, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
And that could really affect relationships in general because some girls are they prioritize more about their friendships, more about their relationship, which is the most fucked up thing I've ever heard.
Well, then you should know that those people are those type of people, and if you want to be prioritized over their friendships, then and they can't give that to you, then you gotta find someone else.
Right.
Because there are some girls that are like, no, of course relationships first. And there are some girls that are like, no, of course friendships first.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to figure out whether that type of person is which one beforehand.
Doesn't that make you less important than friendship?
Yeah.
No, it's not inherently importance. It's just they might have a mindset that is different to yours on it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So they might. So
And
I there was this one girl I was with, and her mindset was, my friends will be with me probably longer than this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You can obviously see where the issue is in that because
Yeah.
they're
don't
putting
have
less
self belief.
effort,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't work with someone who's thinking, oh well,
Oh, I'll be with her
my
forever.
relationship is way more important than my friends because
Hmm.
there are guys that are like, oh, my friendships are more important, girls that are like, oh, my friendships are more important, and they work well together because they just date
Yeah.
and it's casual and they spend time with their friends and it is what it is. But if you think that a relationship should be more important than friends, then you have to find someone that agrees with you on that.
Yeah. So basically, you're saying that you have to have things in common. Yeah. That's the key point to a relationship, don't you think?
The relationship is always destined. It's all chosen by fate.
Not
That's my
really.
opinion.
Uh, Not really, actually.
Well, if you believe in fate or not,
Yeah.
but yeah, I can understand what you mean though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some relationships do just end up working out, and there are some relationships you see, and you're like, how the hell have you guys been together for like
Right.
three
Yeah.
years?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't, I, like I don't know. Some of my friends have had relationships for a while. I'm like, how the fuck are you two still together?
Yeah. So it's basically like they don't have much things in common, but they're like lasting a shit ton of years, like probably even decades. And you're like,
Yeah,
how?
yeah,
That
that's true.
doesn't even make
And
sense. Yeah.
well, I actually know the answer to that. You can have things in common and things not in common, and that's perfectly fine. In fact, you can be pretty different from each other. But the one thing that only works if your values are the same.
Right.
Because if you both value the same thing but have different interests and different things in common, it can work out quite easily. But if you have nothing in common and your values are different, it is bound to fight very often because you will believe in one thing and they will believe in another, and it's just conflict always.
Mm-hmm.
But if you both value the same things, like the way trust works and things like that, and you have something different, you should be able to work it out pretty well because you both will agree on something.
Yeah.
There's
True.
always something
Mm.
to agree on at the end of the conversation, which is that, you both value whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have nothing in common and no values the same, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't
It's
It,
work.
it,
fucked.
it
It's
really
fucked.
doesn't work.
It's fucked. Sooner or later, it's gonna get fucked.
Yeah, I can tell you that one from experiences.
Yeah,
So Ruby,
very.
I think everyone want to know how many relationships have you gotten into?
I've gotten into four.
Four.
Four?
Four.
Or
Four.
Four or five, yeah.
And how long was the longest one? Would you
They
say?
were all 9 or 10 months.
Wow, okay. Jun,
that's hmm.
you only ever had one, right?
Yeah, one.
How long did it last?
I cannot tell. It's like what's it called? For I've known her since grade 7,
Hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then we acted the same way from grade 8 to 9, and we started officially at grade 9. And once we started dating,
Yeah.
it's just the same thing. It's just the same thing,
Yeah, but that's kind
and
of chill, no?
yeah, it's kind of chill. But after that, we have to broke up because she has to live somewhere
Hmm.
very far away from where I live, and we
Yeah,
both doesn't
that's just
support.
unfortunate. That
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
sucks.
that sucks, man.
Yeah, there's just not a lot you can do about that. That's kind of the worst. Yeah,
But
the worst is like when the relationship just ends because of unlucky. It just sucks. Like
Yeah.
there's
mm-hmm.
nothing you can do. Yeah, I've had four relationships, like proper ones, four, and they had their flaws and their not flaws. But yeah, I definitely went through the values different and uh, things in common different, and it was just a lot of disagreements because I would be like, I think this, and she'd be like, no, I think this, and it would just, and you don't exactly want to give up your values because that's kind of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So it would just kind of end in stalemates and us being mad.
Right. Yeah. So so
So, yeah.
so okay. So I would like to ask, yeah, question
Mm.
for you, for the both of you. So I would like to hear Rumi's first, and then we move on to June. Okay, so would you consider? There are the five affection for love or some shit, right? It's five types of love or some shit. And basically, I know of two of those, and one of them is physical touch, and second is gifts.
Hmm.
Yeah, gifts. Yeah, gifting. Which okay, so let's put this in a way where we only have these two types of love, okay? Which one do you think that you would be more looking forward to in a relationship? Gifts or physical touch? And why?
Well, I know another one. The other one is quality time.
Right, okay, yeah, okay. Let's
So
add these
there,
three
there's
scenarios.
there's quality time, there's gifting, there's touch, and then
Hmm.
there's some other ones,
Yeah,
but I
there's
forgot.
two more, I can't remember. But let's say we have three of this in a scenario. Which one would you be more looking forward to in a relationship?
Uh, for me, it's quality time, and
Mm-hmm.
then uh, touch, and then gifts.
So,
I don't really give a fuck about gifts.
you're putting it in.
Like first, second, third.
Ah, yeah, right, okay. So, you say that you prioritize quality time over those two things, which is physical touch and gifting, right?
Yes,
Hmm.
just because like quality time is just. I mean, spending one-on-one time with someone that you really care about is just there's not a lot better for me. And then also, doing things like physically is also something that I really value. And gifts are just something to me that's like, you know, anyone could give me a gift. Anyone could give me a nice gift, right? Maybe one is nicer than the other, but it's a material thing, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't really care that much for it. But like my grandma could give me a gift, you
Right.
know. But you know, those other people can't exactly give me what my girlfriend could, which is
Mm-hmm.
like really, really solid quality time if you enjoy spending
Yes.
if you enjoy spending time with them.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah, I agree on that actually. So what about you, Jun?
I go same as Rumi, but my gift first is quality time,
Mm-hmm.
second is touch, and third is gift. But for me, I don't really care about the gift. All I care is the gift of me having a girlfriend or with her being with her.
So
That's for
quality
me.
time,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
basically.
basically just quality time.
All right, I've got a question for you, Jin. When you said you wanted a girl to spoil you, that's perfectly fine. And
Yeah,
but what do you mean by spoil? Like, as in like a lot of attention,
a
or
lot of attention.
right? Okay, so
Ah.
you're someone that needs a lot of attention,
Yes, that
Mm.
wants a lot of attention.
right? Yeah. But if you say that as a need, it's just it makes it easier because it's like, hey, I need a lot of attention, and
Mm-hmm.
that's that's fine. I mean, I need a lot of attention too.
Me too.
Not yeah, I like attention, and if they, you know, say like, "Hey, I can't give you attention because I'm busy doing something," I'm like, "Yeah, okay, that's
Yeah,
fine, that's
that's
Yeah,
chill."
fine.
that one is understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
As long,
as long as they communicate it beforehand, right? It's
Yeah.
yeah,
all
as
about that. Like, "Hey, I can't give you attention for this amount of time," but afterwards, it's, you know, good. Then you
that's
understand and it's fine. But when people don't communicate that, you're just kind of like, "Where the fuck did my attention go?" You know, and it's
yeah.
like it's frustrating. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, attention is something that, you know, there's no attention like attention from your girlfriend. There's nothing else
Yeah,
like it.
that's yeah.
So of course, it's very special. But it just really, at the end of the day, boils down to you communicating that, hey, I need this much attention. Can you give that to me? And if they say like, yeah, or like, yeah, I'll try, or, you know,
Mm-hmm.
then you have to kind of go from there. Because at that point, you can totally just go like, no, maybe this won't work, or you can go, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But it's always better to think from a like, should I date this person logically than like, well, I really want to date them, you know? Because in the first 2 months of a relationship is like what
Your
the part where
honeymoon?
you're like,
The
yeah,
honeymoon? Yeah.
that's the part where you're thinking nothing can go wrong,
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
will be
Yeah.
perfect, right? And maybe that's true. And most of the time, there's a lot of things you two still haven't figured out about each other that you have to work out.
Mm-hmm.
So at least it's best from a logical standpoint to decide like, hey, would we honestly work together? I would even ask that to the girl. I would be like, hey, do you think honestly we could work together if you guys are thinking about dating? And
Mhm.
then get their answer and kind of go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like figuring everything out before I get into a relationship. Because I don't want to fucking, dude, I got fucking jump scared with. I dated this girl, and I was like, "Yeah, it's all gonna work out." And then she's like, "Hey, I've got 8 different personalities." Like after we were already dating, and I was like, "What
What?
the fuck?"
What?
What the fuck?
Yeah, I was like, "Okay, guess this is something I have to deal with," and I never signed up for.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. All right. So that's why I kind of like figuring things out beforehand because I don't want to get fucking jump scared by some random shit that I wasn't expecting.
Which one would you say that? Wait, which X of it was yours? What was it? First, second?
Was
What's the one that
my
had
second.
second?
Yeah, so I was like 14 or 15, and she was like, I was in ninth grade, and she was in 12th grade.
Holy.
Holy shit! What the fuck?
Turtle.
Yeah, because well, yeah, I mean, I've worked on myself quite a fair amount. So, like right now, I'm getting closer with this girl because right now I'm 18
Mm-hmm.
and she's 22.
Huh?
What?
So you
Fuck.
like older women?
Yeah, I much prefer older women because they're more mature and they
Right.
understand what's going on better,
Mm-hmm.
rather than
Mm.
like the people who are close to my age who have no fucking clue what the hell is happening.
Yeah, understandable.
Would you call her mommy?
Yeah, I had to do that in one of my relationships actually.
You have to do
Yeah,
that.
I had this girl say to me like, "Hey, I'm a switch, I'm a dom and a sub, and I need to be a dom sometimes. And if you can't give me that, I will go elsewhere. So
Oh
either
my.
shit.
learn to be a sub or sometimes, or I will have to
Oh
find out
my.
with someone
Oh
else."
my
And I was like, "Okay, fuck it, I
Oh
guess
my.
So Rumi, are you a doll or some?
I'm a switch.
You're
I can be
switch.
both, but mostly dom.
So does she want to be more dominant than you or more submissive?
Most of the time we're submissive, but sometimes she'd be like, "Hey, I want to dom you." I'm like, "Okay."
Oh my god.
Okay.
But that's what I mean. She expressed something that she needed to do,
Yeah.
and she
Mhm.
gave me the opinion to decide on it,
Mhm.
and I decided okay. And some guys would have said, "No, I'm not into that," or "I'm not going to do that," and therefore the relationship wouldn't have worked. But
Mhm.
she wasn't scared of receiving a no because she wanted to make sure that she got what she needed,
Mhm.
and I really respected that of her. I was like, "Yeah, I like that." I didn't want to start dating her and then out of nowhere, like, "Hey, I need to dom you." By the way, like, no, right? But she was open about it before, so everything kind of worked out.
It was unexpected.
Mhm.
Has she
You
ever
gotta
called you
do what you
daddy?
gotta do.
Has she ever
Oh
called you
yeah,
daddy?
yeah, of course.
Hey yo.
I've done a lot of stuff like that, which I don't know if I want to go on public record. But yeah, I've dabbled in the kinky side of things.
So you have a king for her calling you daddy or some shit.
It kind of comes along with being a dom, but I wouldn't
Right?
say I inherently have a kink for being
I
called
mean,
daddy.
for me, it feels weird if someone calls me daddy.
But what if it's your girlfriend in bed? Okay.
I still don't like. I'll call her mommy.
What the
It's still
fuck?
better.
What the fuck?
I'm more a sub.
You're more submissive?
Yeah.
So would you
Yeah,
do rope
that's
bunny?
Oh
Would you
my,
rope
That's
bunny?
no.
fine though. Like being a sub is it's honestly just personality.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with being a sub or being a dom or whatever in between. But like if you are that, then you just have to find a girl that's more confident and more out there,
Mm-hmm.
which is perfectly fine. Those definitely do exist.
It's
As
okay as long
I've
as I'm not that worse. Like who? What's it called? There was one guy who actually very submissive that is very, very wrong.
Huh?
Oh, he wants to get stepped on.
What the fuck?
That's how submissive he was.
Okay,
He likes to get.
I mean that's just someone's preference. We can't really
Yeah.
judge on that. But
Yeah, if they like that, then
yeah.
they do them.
Like
Yeah.
being stepped on. Okay, so would you say you're more dominant or submissive?
So,
So you feel like you
but
like to be relaxed,
Dude, I'm gonna be honest. Being a sub is way easier. You don't have to
right?
do shit.
Yeah.
It's like you literally just like sit back, relax, and fucking chill. But like when you're a dom, you have to like think about things you need to say. You need to think about like, do I do this next or this next or this next or
but
what's the
like,
best? And it's a
uh,
lot of work.
I guess for hanging out, I'll do everything for her.
Yeah, but
But like,
when it comes to bedtime,
yeah, when it comes to bad time.
That's fine though. Like I had a girl where she really liked being domed, but like outside of being a dom, she liked being yeah, she liked being like a sub, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was the dom in the relationship. But outside of bed, she would prefer to be more like confident that or like more out there than I was, and I was fine with that. But yeah, it's really different.
That's cool though, actually. That's actually cool though.
Yeah, there's really two sides. Like
Mm-hmm.
crazy in the head, crazy in the bed. That saying doesn't exist out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
Yeah. So Jun,
Hmm?
okay, actually this is a question for both of you. Okay. It just popped into my mind, okay.
Hmm.
Would you do rope bunny?
Explain.
Do you not know what's a
It's
rope
like,
bunny?
no,
No?
I
no. Is it
vaguely, but I want.
BDSM?
Did you have a kink for being tied up.
I would not.
No,
I would not be tied
no,
up. I'll
no,
pass on
not
that.
that kind of submissive. Not
I'll
that.
I'll happily tie the girl up, but I'm
Me
don't.
too. Me
I'm not
too.
gonna. Yeah, I'll pass on getting tied
Yeah,
up.
me too. I'll pass.
That's a little. I mean, if like if they really wanted me
Oh
to, and it was
no.
like a one-time
Oh
thing,
no.
maybe. But I wouldn't like. I wouldn't
No,
get like full shibari'd or
that
anything.
one time will become lifelong.
No, I mean like to me it's like a weird hour and a half or 2 hours for me, you know.
Mhm.
But like if to them if it means a lot, then okay.
I guess if she earns it.
But it's not like I'm like, oh no, I'm less of a man because of it. Like I don't really give a fuck, you know. But like
That
I would never go like, hey, I want you to tie me up. Like no,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
unreal.
no, no. It just feels weird. It doesn't matter. It just feels weird. It doesn't make it still makes me a man, but it just feels weird getting tied up.
Right, of course, and that's yeah, I can totally see where you're coming from.
Why? Do you have
Uh,
interest on that, or
Me?
yeah, Osh
yeah,
would like to get tied up for sure.
yeah,
No, no, no,
for
no, no.
sure.
Well, basically, I would rather tie the girl up than to get tied actually. Because if you're tied up, it doesn't. You look like more of a pussy than ever, dude. Like on bed. Come on, like, you don't want that. You wanna be the man of the bed. You know what I mean? Like you wanna be basically dominant. I'll say I'm
I
dominant.
guess. So you're someone who would like to be more dominant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I would like to
fine.
ensure that like, she gets a lot from me, if you know what I mean, instead of me getting a lot from her.
Right.
Yeah.
But also if you do that too much, then, you also have to let the girl
Mm-hmm.
be
Yeah.
able to give back to you.
Makes it fun, yeah.
Well, it's not that it makes it fun, it's that if you do that for too long, it will get very tiring and very draining very
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah. I gotta agree.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, you can probably give more than them or something like that if that's how you want it to be. But if you do that permanently, it's like really tiring.
Jude, would you say that you would do rope bunny once in your life?
I mean, if she really wants it,
Oh my god.
Yeah, if she
Yeah.
really wants to, and it's like make or
uh,
break the relationship, and you really like her, it's like, all right, fine, fuck you.
like, yeah, I'll fuck you, baby. Yeah.
Oh my god. Just picture yourself with June right now and then he just
No, I'll pass on that. Thank
Fuck
you.
off. Fuck off.
I will hard pass. But yeah, I think it really just comes down to like,
Mhm.
hey, I like this, and I need you to do this, and you just have to be able to. One of the hardest things that guys are not good at is just being able to expect a no. Because it's
Mhm.
terrifying being like, "Hey, I really need this in a relationship," and they're like, "No, sorry, I can't give that to you." It's like, "Oh no,
Yeah,
no, I
it's
gotta,"
like yeah.
But also, it's like that's way better than like not telling them, and then when you're already in a relationship, it becomes a huge fucking problem.
I gotta agree, actually.
Like, so because in a way, you kind of, as much as it sucks, you're kind of like dodging a bullet, or you're not like setting yourself up for a relationship that's gonna suck.
Mhm.
But you have to take that initial no. Like when I was one of the ways I was able to get, I guess, a lot of relationships is like if I liked a girl, I would let them know in the same way that I said before, just really casually, like, "Hey, I like you," you know. And it was scary, but at the time, it was like if they said like, "Hey, I don't like you back," then I would go, "Oh, that kind of sucks." But at the same time, I wouldn't have to keep thinking about them. It would be one thing less out of my head,
Mhm.
because I'm like, "Oh, they don't like me. Okay, I got my answer." So I don't have to. Yeah, I don't have to like think too hard about it because it's already no. And if I get a yes, then great. So it was kind of like a win-win to me.
Mhm.
But yeah, any last things you wanna talk about or wrap up with?
June,
Oh, okay, now. Oh, okay.
like
No, I know. Yeah, I
any
understand.
any last few things you would like to ask me or Rumi Because mostly I've been asking you both, right? Yeah. So if you have any
Ye-
curious things that you would like to ask, yeah, you can ask it now.
I'll ask you, what do you value the most?
What do I value the
What's
most?
something that you would definitely need in a relationship?
Hmm.
Like to the point where if a girl said, "Hey, sorry, I cannot give that to you," it's like deal breaker.
No. No. The- If it's something that okay, let's just okay. It really depends on what she really like what I really want. Okay, let's just
Mm.
say uh I want her to be with me on at least once every week. Okay, like that's actually my expectation, but I don't expect it from my current girlfriend now. So
Uh,
I expect her to be at least with me so we can like have physical contact, if you know what I mean, for at least once a week, such as like physical contact as in such as cuddling or like hugging basically.
right. So like you would want to at least see her in person once a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so at least once a week. Okay, but if she wants more, sure, that's up to her. But I'm not really pushing it to her, if you know what I mean. Like I did ask her if she can, if she would like to come over and like do stuff, like not say weird stuff, like just normal
Oh, I know what you
relationship.
mean.
Yeah. That
Let's be
what
in bed together.
and let's say she gives me a no as an answer, I'll be fine. But really, if you're speaking in general for the whole of our duration of our relationship, she consistently says no of her not wanting to come to my house. I would like think twice about the relationship. You know what I mean?
I think anyone would think twice about that
Yeah.
because if
Yeah.
you're with someone and they don't want to spend as little time as that, then there's probably something wrong, or not something wrong, but there's probably something like
Fishy, you know.
not even fishy, like not like they're like cheating or anything, but just like, hey, do you genuinely not want to spend time with me, or are you just really, really busy? And you just have to like ask that, right? And if they're
Mm.
like, hey, no, I genuinely do want to spend time with you, I just really can't because of maybe mental stuff or busy stuff or work stuff, then that's one thing, and you have to kind of decide from there. But if it's just like, no, I actually don't really like you that much, then why the fuck are you in the relationship, right? It's like, okay, I guess. Like, it's kind of weird.
I have a question for both of you.
All right,
What do you guys seek in a relationship? Because for some, sex, for some, happiness, for some,
bro.
to
If
share their
if
boredom.
someone seeks sex in a relationship, I don't even think he's a good type of guy.
Yeah.
Well, I had a girl that just wanted more of a sexual relationship.
Yep. There is in this world.
Yeah, I dated someone like that, and
Was she crazy?
it's fun. Yeah, definitely.
Oh my god.
But that's something that you just have to talk about beforehand. Again,
Mhm.
as it comes down to almost every time, it's just like, hey, I would like a relationship that's more sexual based than emotion based.
Mhm.
And if you're okay with that, then okay, you decide on it. Sure, fine. But it's just whether you're okay with that, and they have to communicate that. And I've kind of gotten to the point where I've just stopped expecting some people to communicate that, so I just ask them because a lot of girls won't like straight up tell you that. You know what I
Because
mean?
I know, I think it's because they don't know. They don't know yet that they need to do that.
Mhm.
Exactly, and
'Cause I just learned that as well.
that's why I'm getting closer to someone who's a lot older
Yeah.
because she's blown me away. Everything she says, it's ridiculous. I don't have to ask her shit, and she fully gets it, and it's
Uh,
fucking nice, man. Like it's the first time I'm not like, hey, she's like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm this type of person, and this is something that I need, and yada yada, and this is, I'm like, wow, okay. The amount of times I've said to her like, wow, I've never heard someone else say that but me. Like, I'm very, very happy. And she's like, well, yeah, I'm older than you, and she studies psychology, and
Oh
so.
shit.
oh, that's
Oh
better.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
fuck
the
that
amount
shit, dude.
the amount of times that I'll say something and she's like, "Oh, are you asking me that because you want to make sure that I understand that you think this?" And I'm like, "What? Yeah." She's like, "Oh, look at you trying to finish my sentence so that you know that I can tell that you're listening." And I'm like, "Shut the fuck up, man."
It's gonna be more in a psychological way than experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
nice though because
It
she
she's
is.
studies
very.
psychology and she dates you. Holy shit, dude! That's like
She's
one
not
point.
dating me. She's not
Oh yeah,
dating me.
not yet. Yeah, you want to say not yet?
I do not know. I would of course like that because she's the most mature and person I've ever met in my entire life. But if it doesn't work out, honestly, I'm very happy to just be around her as a friend.
That's sick, dude. Actually,
But yeah, that was a rare experience. I met her spawn camping her in Overwatch actually.
spawn camping. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
I was playing in bronze because I was bored.
Mhm.
I have a bronze account and I spawn camped her like 8 times in a row. And then she started, typing in chat like, "What the fuck? Let me out of spawn." And then I friended her and we played a bit. And I had no idea she was a girl. And then after a while, we got in voice call. And I was like, "Oh, she's got a really nice voice. Wow." And then I went to Malaysia and I invited her out on a dinner. And we hung out at the mall after that. And that's how we got close.
So was it a picture that you posted on IG where you like
N-
had the Jesus background or some shit?
No, that was just for fun. But no, I'm not gonna post a picture of her. It's like a little weird.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah,
So to answer June's question, I seek more of quality time in a relationship, not
yeah.
sex, actually.
Yeah, sex is cool, but it's kind of an add-on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
It's
just
kind of
a
just like, oh,
bonus.
it's there.
Yeah,
Unless you are in a relationship that's purely for the sex, then.
yeah, then yeah, okay. That's on you though.
Yes, definitely. That's on you and the other person to both know that.
All right. So anything else?
I think
Uh,
that's about it.
All right. So this is the end.
Yes, thank you
Thank
for
you.
listening, whoever
Yeah,
it might be.
yeah.
uh,
Yes,
Okay, June. All right. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
yes. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Yeah.
uh,
Bye.